Jerusalem. We're going to go for a double header tonight. We're going to do a second lesson from Rabbi Nachman, and the Torah should give us strength. I appreciate all those with the patience to listen to the shirim and the Torah study. Maybe to go into make it a little easier, since I've been teaching a long time, I'm going to go right to the English. Mostly. Ashrei Yom Hashgacha. So Yud Gimel, number 13. Happy is the nation that knows the shofar blast. It says in Psalms 89:16. When a person breaks the desire for money, he draws forth full divine providence. The desire for money is broken by giving charity, which cools the burning lust for money and breaks the desire for wealth and riches. Helping a person merit to do business honestly and with faith. Such a person is happy with his lot and pleased with what Hashem has favored him. He is not running to get rich. Thus he is saved from the curse of Adam. By the sweat of your nose you will eat bread, as it says in Bereshis, Genesis 3:19. On the other hand, this curse sees fulfillment in people who are sunken in the desire for money, who are constantly struggling, slaving, and running around and never have any satisfaction from their wealth. May Hashem save us. But giving charity rescues a person from this curse, and it is considered as if he had brought an incense offering in the temple. So, Rabbi Nachman is saying here, we learn out from the teaching of the sages that man was given a tikkun because of the sin of Adam, because he ate from the tree. Our curse is that we have to work for divine sustenance, for physical sustenance in our life. We have to have a job. And we have to have some kli, some means in order to go into for God to bless us with, and bless us through those channels. And Rabbi Nachman said something that I maybe missed last time. Something very great about this. He said, the people who have to go and do this tikkun are the people who have the lust for the wealth and the money. Therefore, it could be that the person who breaks this lust through giving charity, okay, and helping others with his money, and who's faithful in business, and he's not running to get rich, and he'd rather share that wealth, he'd rather see the other person prosper, it is he who doesn't have that tikkun of Adam that he has to worry about, because he's broken it, he's fulfilled it through his means, without the lust. It's the lust of money that makes a person have to do that tikkun. The person has a lust for Torah, has a lust for doing chesed and kindness for people. This person will therefore have the sustenance from God and the blessing to do that, to learn Torah and to do ma'asim tovim, through his ability that when he does have money, even if he doesn't have it, he breaks it through giving charity by being kind, using his time to help people, and he breaks that desire. It says in the Talmud, a person dies with not even half of his of the desire for money that he wants. He dies because as much as a person gets money, he wants even more, and then he starts messing up his friends. He steals from them, and he doesn't even realize what he's doing. He starts to do his business dishonestly. He comes further from God, and he's stuck in this thing of wealth and selfishness, and the only way for him to break that is to give charity and to turn that around immediately and start to give. Let's go weiter, because I want to say something very important in a moment. And so this person who gives charity and breaks his lust is as if, when he's giving charity, as if he's giving a carbon to Hashem. He's actually not carbon, an incense offering. And that's how sweet it is to God, a person who's breaking their taiva for money. Now, Rabbi Nachman says the lust for money is literally idolatry. It's idolatry. And as long as this idolatry, worship of money exists in the world, divine anger is also present in the world. Conversely, to the degree that this lust is nullified, so too divine anger is nullified, and loving kindness is channeled into the world, in the opposite realm. Then, knowledge is elicited, which is knowledge to the building of the holy temple. The nullification of money lust is also related to the revelation of the Mashiach, the Messiah, since at that time the love of money will cease to exist. When Mashiach comes, when you have the base of minutes, we're not going to have this lust for money. And so Rabbi Nachman is saying that this lust for money is literally idolatry. Now, I want to explain something. I like these speakers that speak about trying to, how do you say, these life coaches like Tony Robbins. You have many life coaches talking about positive energy. A person, if they want to accomplish, they have to work hard. They have to have positive energy. They have to go and be willing to travel the extra mile. These motivational speakers, okay? I love listening to them. I listen to NLP. I finished courses in NLP. I've listened to courses in hypnosis, okay? Just for the knowledge of it, okay? And I can tell you, I have great respect for what they're doing. That they're encouraging people and giving people some energy in their life, because most people just waste away most of their day. But the thing I gotta tell you is that one thing I learned from Tony Robbins, okay, and I practiced this when I was listening to his talks, is he says you should go and in your wallet, just to give you an understanding of the lust of money that they have. As much as I praise the motivation they have, but they have tremendous lust of money. Okay, most of them believe me, their houses they don't travel cheap. Most of them are these motivational speakers are completely saturated in the idolatry, and I'll say idolatry, that's what Rabbi Nachman calls it, of money. Okay, so what does Tony Robbins say? He says you should go and take your wallet and have in there $1,000, $2,000. So you want to feel like $1 million all the time. This money is going to make you want to work harder with your time and make more money. Okay, you want to feel great. Okay, you want to wear the latest fashions. You want to wear clean clothes. You want to go and be stylish. Okay, and that's the problem with the motivational speakers. Okay, because most of what they're motivating is for a person to go and make a lot of money. Okay, you not to say you do have some rare ones saying your satisfaction is going to be when you share that, when you go and you help people and you do charity. But their main teaching, if you look at it, and why they're successful, is they're giving lectures to people who want to become very wealthy, and have Ferraris, okay? And so you have to understand that without Torah, so you know how to channel money. The Torah is idolatry completely, okay? And Rabbi Nachman says that it causes divine anger. This lust for money and idolatry causes anger to God, and it stops the Mashiach from coming. So you have to break this lust, and how do you do that? Through charity. Okay? So Rabbi Nachman continues, by breaking money lust through giving charity, a person mitigates harsh judgments, finds himself rescued from all troubles, and is called wise. As a result of all this, it is possible to elevate Jewish souls and to rejuvenate them and to bring Torah teachings into the world. These Torah teachings are drawn from the Torah that will be revealed in the future, which is known as the hidden Torah of the Ancient One. By breaking money lust through giving charity, a person also affects a unification of the Holy One, blessed be He, and divine presence. And just to continue, when I had that $1,000 that Tony Robbins said to put in my pocket, you know what happened to it? I spent it. Okay, I spent it. I didn't keep it in there. Because your person shouldn't walk around with a lot of money. And he shouldn't try to feel like $1 million. You should feel like a Torah Jew. You should feel Yirah Shamayim, God-fearing when you walk around. Okay? So, but all the motivational stuff, the other stuff is fine. But unfortunately, that's the main thing, is for them to become wealthy and for you to make them that way. But motivation, yes, we need motivation. We all need motivation. There's still plenty of good. But understand that they're connected to the lust of money, most of them. Okay, so through charity you're able to fix all these things, okay, and it saves you from harsh judgments and troubles. And you elevate Jewish souls, and you bring Torah into the world. By breaking this lust, you're bringing complete unity between the Holy One Blessed He and the Shekhinah. The highest unity by breaking that lust. It says in Mishlei, Nitaknu shtei hamerkavois v'chinas tikuna de merkavto ilo merkavto tata. When the sage takes souls and ascends with them and brings down its trusted fortress, and brings down its trusted fortress, it says in Mishlei, that is, he generates the Torah teachings mentioned above. The two chariots are thereby rectified. This is what is called the rectification of the upper chariot and the lower chariot. I'll explain that in a minute. Each and every one of the people who come to the sage of the generation has some good will or desire. The tzaddik, the sage, elevates all these desires and thereby rejuvenates the souls of those people who come to him. And in this way he brings down the Torah revelation that he will then teach them. Thus each of the people present has a share in his Torah teaching in accordance with the intensity and nature of his own desires. And to that same degree, he also experiences a positive spiritual rejuvenation. Therefore each person must strengthen and rouse himself to come to the sage with good desires and with good, strong yearnings for God, so that he might attain the best possible spiritual spiritual renewal. I can't say, my English is not as good as since I'm in Israel. Okay, so we also heard from Rabbi Nachman that the critical time when all this occurs is when the sage is preparing himself to say Torah. At the time, each person should examine his deeds, seek to have good desires for God, and offer prayers to this effect. Then the sage will be able to take him by hand and bring him up from the place where he is, to rejuvenate him with good, new vitality in accordance with the desire that he has at the time. Very interesting, this Torah lesson, because tonight I was by a Torah lesson from the Hornsteipel Rebbe, okay? And I was debating, it was just after Marav, we finished praying, and I thought to myself, the Rebbe is going to start in about 3 minutes. Should I go to the mikveh, or should I stay? Or should I miss 5 minutes of it? And I thought to myself, now is the time for me to rejuvenate myself, and by going to the mikveh, I'll be able to get more out of those few minutes I return back, and so it's maybe worth me missing those few minutes. So here we're speaking just like this, just about the same concept, that while the sage is preparing to give his lesson, that's when you should go and try to repent. Okay? And we're going to see how money and the sage all ties in together as we continue the lesson. From this, you understand the vast difference between a person himself, when a person himself is with the tzaddik, the sage, at the time the tzaddik gives a Torah teaching, and when he hears his teaching through someone else. For when the person himself is present, he actually has a share in the teaching that is being taught, and at the time that his soul is rejuvenated. There are many other differences besides this, which are... So he's saying it's very important, if it at all possible, to be in the presence of the sage when he is giving the Torah lesson, not just to hear it secondhand. Much more beneficial to get the Torah directly from the sage. And then you're going to get that full rejuvenation. When people come to the tzaddik, the complete divine providence is invoked. The reason for this is that the Torah teachings which the sages brings down draws Hashem's providence and supervision upon us. This happens because the Torah consists of cantillation signs, vowels, and crowns on the letters, and the letters themselves. And these 4 levels in turn correspond to the 3 shades of the color of the eye, in the iris and the pupil. Therefore, through the Torah that the sage reveals, the sage brings down the power of vision that Hashem's providence is upon us. The closer a person is to the Torah, the more fully he will receive God's providence. Okay, so being in the presence of the tzaddik, the tzaddik I went to tonight to the shir he was speaking in Yiddish. My Yiddish is not 100%. I missed some words. So I think to myself, you know what? It doesn't matter. The Torah study, okay, the words of Torah that he's saying, they have crowns. They're beautiful. The Hebrew words are so beautiful. If I don't understand anything, I just listen. If you're just tuning into the shir, just by listening to Torah, you're getting an elevation. You're getting a rejuvenation from this. So it's great, even if you have it in the background, it's still something great. So the Torah that the sage reveals, it brings down divine providence. And the closer a person is to the Torah, the more he's going to see Hashem's providence. Okay, maybe you feel Hashem is hiding himself in your life. But if you learn more Torah, you're going to start seeing miracles in your life you can't believe. You're going to see things connecting to it. You're going to see you learn something in the Torah, and something's going to happen that day completely around that Torah study. You're going to see that divine providence is there in everything. Once you connect to the Torah, the more you get connected to God in the Torah, the more you're going to see His hand in your life. You're going to see beautiful things, wonders and miracles beyond your comprehension. You're going to see that you don't need that lust for money. God is going to give you what you need. He always gives you what you need. You have what you need. That's what you're going to see, and that's fulfillment. So when a person craves the fulfillment of some physical desire, this craving blemishes and embitters the soul. At such a time, the soul is in a condition described by the verse as she was bitter in her soul. It says in Samuel. And her soul is bitter. It says in Kings. This is a state of spiritual dispersion. And in such a state, the soul does not shine. Rather, it is called a hungry soul, as it says in Psalms 107. To rectify this, it is necessary to come to the sage of the generation. He is the one who will rectify and elevate even these flawed desires, along with the good desires that a person possesses. By coming to the sage, the verses will then be fulfilled. He has filled up a hungry soul with good. He will sate your soul amidst its thirst. It says in Isaiah, furthermore, that person's youth will be renewed as an eagle. In other words, the days of his youth, which pass in darkness, will be filled with a new vitality and will be rectified. Then this person can be called human. In addition to this, by coming to the sage, a person's body will be elevated and rejuvenated. So we're not just talking about visiting the sage to go and feel, okay, I did something for God, and I went to the sage. No, the sage is able to completely rejuvenate you both physically and spiritually. Physically, your health, everything. Okay, go to him. If you don't feel good and you can crawl there on your hands and knees, you're going to get something. You're going to get something out of it. And he's going to take that bitter soul and he's going to fix it. So great is it to be in the presence of the sages. And those people who come to the sage of the generation, whose souls, that is, their good desires, the sage gathers and elevates, as a fetus of the womb, renewing them for the good, and with whose souls the sage sequentially returns to this world and invokes with them Torah revelations. These souls correspond to the animals of the chariot in Ezekiel, and their bodies correspond to the wheel angels. The soul, the sage himself, and his holy knowledge correspond to the throne, and to the one who sits upon the throne, respectively. Similarly, with the Torah teaching that the sage brings down, there are also 4 parts, corresponding to the animals, the wheeled angels, the throne, and the one who sits upon the throne. Weiter, but the person must seek and search very hard for the tzaddik, the sage. For a sage like this, he must ask God to make him worthy of finding such a sage, who will gather souls together, elevate them, and then renew them, as the fetus of the womb is bringing down together to Torah teachings. For only such a sage is able to rectify a person and lift him from all the spiritual harm done to him by all the physical desires. The tzaddik accomplishes this with 2 kinds of intellect, represented by the Hebrew letter shin, which is written with 3 heads, and by the letter shin, which is written with 4 heads, as they appear on the 2 sides of the tefillin worn on the head. So what is this sage? The sage that we're talking about. You have to pray to find him. I was praying as a buffer, as a teenager. I said, please God, find me a sage. I don't know what to do. I don't have anyone I don't feel like I know a sage. The rabbis I know, I don't feel like they can elevate me. There's something wrong. I need something stronger. And this is where Rabbi Nachman's teaching. He's saying, pray to God, search for that sage who elevates souls. That special person. When you're in his presence, he elevates you. That you have to search for him. And he's able to go and the more a person sins, the deeper they are stuck in a pit. The greater the ladder they need, the rope they need to, longer the rope they need to pull them down. The stronger they need the person on top to pull them back up. So you got to find a sage who can pull you up from wherever you're falling. Don't settle for second place. Find the sage who's got the energy, who has the willpower, who has the understanding, who's close to God, that knows how to open those gates and understands souls. You need someone, like people go to a doctor and the doctor prescribes them medicine, but the doctor doesn't understand souls. He doesn't understand what a person needs. He has to be someone brilliant that understands that each person is different. Each person has a different DNA. The sage, the higher the level of the sage, the more he understands about the DNA, the spiritual DNA that we're all made up of, and he can go and direct you in the right place. The greater the number of souls that come to the true tzaddik to receive Torah, the more the evil wind which is generated upon the earth is diminished and nullified. This evil wind refers to the questions posed by the heretics when they see the righteous suffer and the evil prosper. But when the many souls gather together around the true tzaddik and the true sages, the wind of these questions is silent. It is appropriate that the people who travel and come to the true tzaddik, the sage, should experience an increased love for one another, and that they should awaken and remind one another about the service of God. When this occurs, it is a sign that during the time that they were with the true tzaddik, the sage, their intentions were acceptable, and they have begun to undergo a positive spiritual rejuvenation. This lesson implies that a person can receive the salvation he needs by relating all his secrets to a good friend. As stated in sacred literature, a person comes from the sage, and people go and he's talking, the sage is so wonderful, and people are laughing at him who are not connected to the sage. Just think, what's wrong with that guy? He's a freak. All he does is talk about the sage and the tzaddik and Rabbi Nachman or Lubavitcher or the Belzer Rebbe or this Rav. He just speaks and speaks and speaks about him like he's like the king of the world. What's wrong with him? He's so extreme and so saturated. He's in a cult. And they don't realize, no, this person has been purified by the sage. He feels good because he's connected to the sage, and the sage is close to God. A person who's not close to God, not learning enough Torah, he's not going to be able to come close to God. He needs a sage to help him. He needs to be close to someone who's close to him. You go to a king's palace, okay? You want to get close to the king. Is the guards outside going to get you close to the king? No. It's going to be one of his ministers. Okay, these ministers that are surround the king, go into the inner chambers, have the key. This is the person you need to be around. These are the sages. You have to seek out these sages who know the king, who know how to go through the doors, who know how to rectify souls, and understand the blemished souls of this world. And there are many. And the deeper you're blemished, the more you have to crave and find the tzaddik and the Torah teachings that are going to go and elevate you. There exists souls that are extremely blemished. Even when these souls come to the tzaddik, the sage, they are nevertheless still sunken in all the physical desires and have not yet moved from the profane in the direction of holiness by even a hair's breadth. It is certainly not possible to elevate and rejuvenate as fetus of the womb souls such as these. But there do exist tzaddikim, there do exist sages who have attained such wondrous and awesome spiritual levels that they will be able to elevate even the blemished souls such as these, as the fetus of the womb, and effect a positive spiritual renewal for them. Therefore, a person who knows in his own soul that he has done a great deal of spiritual damage, and who wishes to take pity on himself and return to God, must ask and plead profusely before Hashem to allow him, in his kindness, to draw close to the tzaddik, the sage, like this, one who is strong enough to elevate and rejuvenate even his soul for the good. Fortunate is he who merits to find a tzaddik, a sage, such as this. My friends, many of you gave up searching for the sage. Why? Were you so hurt in Cheder, in the Jewish system, that you just gave up? They don't believe it exists. My friends, there's a sage out there who has all your rectification. And if you're not putting Torah first in your life, you know yourself. I don't know yourself. You know your secrets. If you're not putting Torah first in your life, you need this sage. You need to find him, this person to rejuvenate you. Don't accept status quo. Don't think you can get out of it yourself. Pray to God with all your heart to find the tzaddik. And don't be the person that knows he can travel to the tzaddik but doesn't make that trip because it's too hard, or you can't humble yourself. But make that trip to the sage. I hear stories of Rav Moshe Feinstein, how a man from a synagogue. He didn't come for a few days. So, what did the sage do? Rav Moshe Feinstein, he picks up the phone, he calls him on the phone. He says, Shimon, I haven't seen you a couple days. I just want to know if you're okay. I haven't seen you in synagogue. And he touches Shimon's heart. Shimon knows someone cares about his spiritual survival. And you know something, friends? If you don't have a friend like that, if your friends don't care about your soul, then get rid of them. A true friend is someone who encourages you in the study of Torah. And if your friends aren't encouraging you to study Torah, to be close to God, then they're probably a negative influence. And you probably don't need that. You don't have time for that. And Mamash, I know we need it. We need sages like this that'll pick up the phone and say, Shimon, where are you? I care about you. And I know most of us don't have that. And God wants you to pray for that. You have to pray to find that community. You know, in Israel, we're not as community oriented, and a lot of us suffer. We don't have those people calling us on the phone and say, where are you? Why don't I see you? And everyone during the week, they're praying at different synagogues. And on Shabbos morning, Shabbos morning, it's like they're part of that Kehillah community. But in the old days, community was everything. In America, community is more so a center. But we need the sages to be able to lower themselves, to be able to have the time, the energy. Maybe we're not supporting them enough financially that they can do this in their families. Maybe we need to be there for them more. But we need the sages that are going to make us feel like $1 million and tell us that we too can become a sage. We too can be holy and pure, and we're loved. But at your very best, travel to the tzaddikim. Don't give up. This sage, he exists. That's gonna go and be there for you. This Rebbitzin, this lady, you know, we have some of the greatest Rebbitzins, and they have a little more time. She might exist for you to bring your soul close to God. So we began by speaking about the lust for money, and I have to remind you that whatever money you're supposed to have, God will make sure you have it. We learned that the tikkun of Adam Arishon, the first man, because of the sin, it made us to have to work. It made him to have to work for his needs. Before that, food was given to him, ready-made. But to not need to rectify the sin is to have more shefa and sustenance, so you can learn Torah all day and learn Torah with your time. The rectification of that is to get rid of that lust, because the lust doesn't do anything for you. Okay? You can have plenty of money without the lust for it, without the klipa of it, but it's not easy. Okay? It only comes if you're giving a lot of charity, and you're giving charity not just with money, but with your time, with yourself. You have to break that lust, and then you're going to see you have everything you need. He who is happy is he that's happy with his lot, not searching to compete. And he who's happy in business is one who does business honestly, never to hurt those who does business with, and only seeks their elevation as well. And the sage is so important for a Jewish person to have a sage who can elevate you. And the further you fall, the greater the sage you need. That's why Rabbi Nachman's teachings are so great, because he's able to go down to places where other sages necessarily couldn't. And he's able to rectify that soul that's depressed with his teachings of joy. That soul that doesn't have any more self-worth, doesn't believe in itself. He's able to tell that soul, you can learn Torah, you can become a tzaddik too, a sage too, anyone can. And you see this rejuvenation coming from these sages, and there are many sages like this. I pray you find them. I pray you're not alone in your seeking of God, because it's too difficult. I pray only for you to have the best. May you seek Hashem and find Him. Da 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 di da 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 di da 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 Shalom, shalom from Jerusalem. Please share the video for others to benefit.